changing the seals on a Honda CRF150r 2007. We got the forks out of it. Okay, that was pretty straightforward. Just a couple of bolts here, a bolt up on top, and you take off the wheel and the brake assembly. No big deal. But here's where it gets tricky. Everything I found online isn't super clear about how to do this for this specific bike. So I'm going to go ahead and walk myself through the process here so that it is clear. So step number one, we got to take off that nut up there on top. The whole thing's a cap and it comes off. But before you do, there are two screws. First, you want to turn this one, the center one, counterclockwise. Okay. The other screw is just a bleeder screw to bleed off air later on. But this one, turn that one counterclockwise. Count the turns because you'll want to put it back just the way you found it. Then on the opposite end, same screw, different name. You want to turn that one counterclockwise and count the turns. So in my case, this one was one screw, one full turn out. And this one was 2.5 turns. Okay? So the next step is we're going to take off this cap and then just drain the oil out of it. Now if that cap doesn't come off easy, on my two forks, one of them came off pretty easy, the other one came off hard. I went ahead and used a strap wrench and it came off super easy. So that's one trick. That's one trick for you. Okay. The other trick for you is, while it's still in the fork head holder, go ahead and just give them a little bit of a loosen. Don't take them out, but just break them free. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take off the end cap counterclockwise. Then we're going to drain the oil into the pan. Then we're going to come back up here to the dust seal. And we're going to remove the dust seal and remove the clip. Then the next step is the lock nut. Okay, so we loosened up counterclockwise turns, loosened up each one of the adjustments on top and bottom. Okay, now we're going to take a, what do we got, 17mm wrench and loosen up that dust cap. Now the service manual will tell you to put this into a vise, but it should break free with your hands. If it doesn't, use a strap wrench and it should loosen right up. Okay, and when you get it loose, you know, it's not going to break free and really have an indicator. You'll just have to realize that it's turning easy and just go ahead and pull it out. You can pull it out a little bit and then just dump the oil out of it. Okay, so hold it above your drip pan and just drain the oil right out of it. I've already drained this one, so we're going to go right to the next step. The next step is we need to remove this whole shaft, but we can't because that dust seal and everything back here. So two more steps. What we're going to do is we're going to take off the ring on this end, the retaining clip, and we're going to remove the cap down on this end. Now if you look close in there, there's a 14mm lock nut. I'm going to put a wrench on like so, and then come back here to your dust cap and just go ahead and break it free like that. Okay? So I got the wrench on there, holding the 14mm lock nut, and I'm loosening up the cap. Now at this point I can just spin that right off, but I'm going to put this in the vise because I want to be on my toes in case anything starts to come apart. Don't imagine that it will, but you know. Okay, we're continuing on. Got it in the vise. So as you can see, it's just a rag wrapped around it. It doesn't take a lot of force. Like I said, the service manual makes a big deal about putting this into a soft grip vise, but just a rag in there to just hold it fast. That's all you need. It's just holding it for you. It's not like you got to use a lot of force. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. So right up here, you might be able to see it better here. This is that lock nut. Okay, it's just a 14 millimeter lock nut, and then I got my 17 millimeter ratchet over here on the dust cap, loosening that up. That's all there is to it. Okay, so I'm going to spin the top off of this. This spring is, as you can tell, this spring's not holding a lot of pressure on it, so don't stress about this thing's going to fly apart on your lap into a million pieces or anything crazy. What's going to happen is we're going to spin this dust cap off, and it's going to have a long tube. Okay, be real careful with this tube. It's, you know, lightweight like everything on here, so, and it's got a nice little needle valve on the end, so just be careful, and when you take it out, set it aside, make sure it's on a nice clean surface. Also, it's round. Make sure it doesn't roll off your workbench. Oops. And same thing with your spring. Now, if the spring slides out of there nice and easy, as you can see, it's uniform from beginning to end, so there are no extra wraps on one end or the other end, like some models you run into. Okay, so I guess this can go in either way, but I'm going to try and remember to put it in the way I took it out. Okay, now just for convenience, I'm going to pull this out of the vise and reposition it like so, and slide it back into the vise, of course. Reposition it like this just to make it convenient to work on that ring up on top. Not a super big deal. You know, I could probably do this with it in the horizontal position. I just think it'll be easier to push it up out of the way. Just got to get that thing to stay up out of the way somehow. Anyway, not a big deal. So, there are two things we're going to do now. Now I'm going to take off the dust seal, and I'm going to do that just using a chisel to pop that thing out of there. Don't really care about it. Here, let's get out the new one so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so we were talking about the dust seal here a moment ago. So I bought the kit. I bought the dust seal and the oil seal. Okay, so they sit in there like that. All right. In case you're wondering, that is the Honda part number right there. Give you a second to write that down. Press pause. Cool. Rocky Mountain. Okay, so I wanted to show you that dust seal because now that we know what the dust seal looks like, see that spring on top? See the spring on top? Okay. Now we know when I come over here with my screwdriver or a sharp chisel, I need to get between the metal and the seal. That's pretty important because on some of the older suspensions, the seal had a metallic cap on it. So you might be tempted to whack down here with your chisel, but you want to stay up here in between the metal and the rubber seal. I guess you can use a screwdriver to do this. You can use a lot of different tools. I'm going to try a chisel just because I've had some luck with this before. And it's not going to pop out all at once. You kind of have to work your way. Just little nibbles on either side is all you need. Just taps. I'm not hitting this very hard, just tapping it. You definitely don't want to mess up the metal, so make sure it's definitely don't want to mess up the metal. Make sure it's on there flat, flush. Tap, tap, tap. So this is the dust cap we're taking off now, just the dust cap. The oil seal is going to be deeper down in there. Those little taps are paying off. Now it's coming right apart. Look at that. Okay, check it out. Dust cap. Dust cap? Dust cap. That's all it is right there. Okay. We're going to slide that dust cap up. Then, what holds the oil seal in is just that little ring clip. So we're going to reach in there with our screwdriver or pick and grab the round part of that thing and just lift it right out of there. Okay, so now we're going to remove this this ring. Okay, it's setting right down in there, and well, you can imagine what it actually lays in there like that. So I picked up a couple of these. I figured I'd change them out. Probably don't need to, but for $5 I figured I'd rather have the peace of mind rather than keep the bike down for an extra week while I wait for the parts to come in. And then you know how it is, get the time to work on it, blah blah blah. So take a look right in here. Man, I hope that shows up. Let me get a better light. Take a look right in there. You can see that clip. All we got to do is pop that half circle clip out of the groove that it's sitting in, and it'll come right out. Now you can do this pretty easily with a screwdriver. All you got to do is pry from the side, catch the end, and it'll pop right off. Okay? Like I said, I got one just like that talking to you. Okay, now the other one's on the other side. We're going to grab this one. Okay, now don't get carried away. It does not take a lot of force to pop that out of there. See that? Don't get carried away and think you got to pry on this cylinder. You don't. All you got to do is take the flat part of your screwdriver and pry from the inner wall of the outer sleeve, just enough to push it up out of place. And as you can see, there's nothing to it. Okay? Okay, here's where we are, right? We've got the dust seal. Notice the metal spring on top on the axle side. We got the dust seal. Then we got the clip holding everything in. And now inside of here, we still have the oil seal. We get that oil seal out of there just by giving it a couple of pops. Okay, 14mm on the lock nut. Just gotta rotate that spring until you get a clear opening for the flat wrench. Okay, the spring is not loaded, it's not under pressure. Put your 17mm socket on the end over here. And just loosen her up. That's all there is. Okay, spin the end off like that, and then, okay, it'll just slide right out. Okay, you want to try and keep that clean. We'll set that on a towel, and then the spring slides right out. Okay, we're going to put the shock in the vise, wrap a rag around it just to keep this polished. You want it snug, but you certainly don't have to squeeze too hard. We're going to slide our chisel, our flat chisel, in between the metal and the rubber dust cap. Now we're going to remove that little, whoops, makes a little retaining clip there. See if I can show you how I do this without wiggling too much. Want to make sure the screwdriver is clean. You just slide it in, pry against the outside, and that clip comes right out. Be careful you don't touch the cylinder. Don't feel like you got to do the whole thing on one side. Come on over and pop the other side loose, and it'll pop right out of there for you when it's ready. Just turn the screwdriver, that's all it takes. Bingo. That's it. Okay, so at this point with the oil seal out of there, you just got to give it some good firm snaps. Now as you're whacking away, you're going to get less confident. Just watch the oil seal. You'll see the oil seal starting to work out with every whack. Aha! That's all it takes. There's the oil seal. Okay. Now while you get it apart here, see that little bushing down there on the bottom? Okay. The book says if, what is it, over 75% of the copper is showing, you need to replace it. but I'm not even gonna, well, I guess I gotta touch it, but I think that one's perfectly fine. So the oil seal will usually come out on the shaft, but it looks like the oil seal wants to stay in there. So I've been itching to use this hook tool. Harbor Freight, under $5. I'm gonna try and just grab that oil seal and pop her right out. Boom, there she goes, along with everything else. Okay, we're gonna use my little hook tool, Harbor Freight, $5. Actually came as a set, but been itching to use this. Should be able to just keep working it on either side. Now there is a washer. If you look close, there is a washer in there. I can hook that washer and probably get a better pull. Okay, just work it easy on either side. You want to pay attention to what the seal looks like when it comes out, so don't feel like you gotta bowl and tear, because you really don't. I'm being extra careful because I want to know exactly how this seal goes in and out. Okay, so I got my seal coming out, and my brand new seal. You can see there's quite a difference. It's pretty obvious which one goes in first, but it's easy to forget this kind of stuff when you get wound up. So there you go. Okay, if it looks like you got a deep groove that you can see, well, that's the inside. You shouldn't be seeing that when you put it back together. Okay, the top is going to come out just like that. Okay, I'm going to pull that oil seal right out now just so you can see what's behind it. There it is. Okay, so we got the washer down there first, then the oil seal on top of it. And I'm going to leave it just like that until I get the other one put together, just so there's no doubt. Okay, so here's what we got. We got our dust cap, and on top of that we got our spring that holds in the oil seal. Okay, here's what I got. I got my axle in the vise, axle end of the tube down. Okay, I got the inner side poking right up here on the top, and just going to recreate how all this stuff was put together. Okay, just so it's super clear. Okay, that's my old oil seal, and there's a washer on top. So when I put it back together, I'm going to have my oil seal spring side down on the bottom, then I'm going to slide on my new clip, and then I'm going to slide in my oil seal, and then my washer over the top. I'm going to pop that bushing off of there. According to the service manual, visually inspect the guide and fork tube bushings. Replace the bushings if there is excessive scoring or scratching, or if the Teflon is worn so the copper surface appears on more than 3/4 of the entire surface. Okay, that one's all black, so I'd say that one's pretty good shape. No need to change. Okay, so that bushing, if you turn it around, you'll find there's a slit in the bushing. Just got to slide a screwdriver in to make it just wide enough to slide up over, and slide that off out of the way. Okay, the only reason we're messing with this is because this has a couple of sharp edges that could damage the seal. So we're just going to slide that off for the integrity of the seal. Okay, now the oil seal's going on. So we're going to put some suspension oil on the shaft just to make everything slide down there nice and easy. Not have to worry about any we're going to put some plastic over the end just to help the seal as it slides down over that slides down over those grooves. So the dust seal's going on first. Okay, that's the least of our worries. Next thing to go on is the retainer clip. think that was?
No clue.
Okay. Put in some suspension oil on the seal on the inside to help it slide in better. Okay, and the opening goes on the tube. And then our washer over the top. Achoo! Okay, you want to push that seal down in there nice and even all the way around. There are tools out there that you can buy, or you can use a piece of PVC pipe. Okay. If you do, make sure you sand off all the burrs so that PVC doesn't get in there. If you get it in there crooked, you can pull it out, and that washer should help bring it up so it's square again. These are designed to be put in with a slide hammer, so keep that in mind as you're messing about here. You know, PVC will work if you don't have the proper tools, but they really do sell something better. Don't need to get carried away, you just need to get in there low enough so you can put the spring in. The whole purpose of this is just to get that retaining clip in there. Okay, a little trick for you. Push down on the opposite side of the open side, the retaining ring will find its spot. Be patient. Just got to make sure it's in the grooves. Just got to make sure the retaining clip is inside of the grooves. That's all. Nothing fancy. Okay, now we'll slide the dust seal down over. Same thing. Could use the PVC, but that one fell right on there pretty easily. Okay, same process on the second one. We're going to split that bushing. We'll slide it right up out of there. There we go. So that's off. Now we're going to put some cylinder oil on there just to make everything nice and slippery. Yeah, do you need it?
Yeah.
Okay. Put it on the dust cap, spring side down. Then the clip, oil on the oil seal. Okay. Okay, like the letter C, lower part of the C down. There's a metal sling on there that goes up.